September 1st, 1939. Before dawn breaks over Poland, the sky is already alive. At first, it's only a sound, distant, mechanical, unfamiliar. Then the horizon fills with wings. Hundreds of aircraft move in perfect formation, black crosses stamped onto cold, gray metal. Within minutes, airfields are burning. Radios fall silent. Entire squadrons are destroyed before pilots can even reach their planes. This is not war as the world knows it. This is speed, precision, overwhelming force from above. In 1939, Germany doesn't just fight on land, it owns the sky. The Luftwaffe becomes the sharpest weapon of the Blitzkrieg, breaking nations before armies can even mobilize. But the aircraft that conquer Europe in months will be forced to fight a war that lasts 6 brutal years. This is the story of every German aircraft used in World War II, the machines that built early dominance, and the reasons that dominance ultimately collapsed. German fighters, the spearhead. Messerschmitt Bf 109. The Messerschmitt Bf 109 was the backbone of the Luftwaffe. When it entered service, it was ahead of nearly everything flying in Europe. Fast, compact, heavily armed, and deadly in experienced hands. From Poland to France, from Britain to the Eastern Front, the Bf 109 fought everywhere. More than 33,000 were built, making it the most produced fighter aircraft in history. As the war evolved, so did the Bf 109. Each new variant gained more power, heavier armament, and better performance. But those gains came at a cost. Narrow landing gear made takeoffs dangerous. Visibility was poor, and by the later years of the war, poorly trained pilots and low quality fuel limited its effectiveness. The Bf 109 didn't fail. It was simply asked to fight a war it was never designed to survive. Focke-Wulf FW 190. When the Focke-Wulf FW 190 appeared in 1941, it shocked the Allies. RAF pilots who had learned how to fight the Bf 109 suddenly found themselves outmatched. The FW 190 was faster at low altitudes, rolled quicker, carried heavier weapons, and absorbed punishment that would destroy other fighters. It became Germany's most versatile fighter, escort, interceptor, ground attacker, and bomber-destroyer. Later versions like the FW-190D Dora pushed performance even further, especially at high altitude. Many German pilots considered it the finest piston-engine fighter they ever flew. But versatility could not compensate for shrinking resources and collapsing pilot training. Messerschmitt Bf 110. The Bf 110 was Germany's heavy fighter experiment. Designed as a long-range escort and bomber-destroyer, it performed well early in the war. But during the Battle of Britain, its weaknesses were exposed. Against agile single-engine fighters, the Bf 110 suffered devastating losses. Yet the aircraft found a second life. Converted into a night fighter and equipped with radar, the Bf 110 became one of Germany's most effective nocturnal killers. In darkness, speed and maneuverability mattered less than detection and firepower. The Bf 110 failed by day and dominated by night. Bombers, the tools of terror. Heinkel He-111. The Heinkel He-111 became the face of German bombing. It attacked Warsaw, Rotterdam, and London. Its glazed nose and smooth lines made it instantly recognizable and deeply feared. Early in the war, the He-111 was effective, but as Allied fighters improved, it became increasingly vulnerable. Defensive guns were insufficient. Speed was inadequate. Losses mounted. By the later years of the war, it was no longer a true bomber, instead launching V-1 flying bombs and serving as transport. The He-111 stayed in service not because it was good, but because Germany had nothing better. Dornier Do-17/Do-217. The Dornier Do-17 earned the nickname Flying Pencil for its slim fuselage. Fast and agile for a bomber, it performed well early on. But like most German bombers, it was built for short wars, not prolonged attrition. The Do-217 improved range and payload, but by the time it entered service, the bomber war was already lost. Junkers Ju-88. The Junkers Ju-88 was Germany's most versatile aircraft. Bomber, dive bomber, night fighter, torpedo bomber, reconnaissance platform. Over 15,000 were built. It fought on every front. When Germany needed an aircraft that could do almost anything, the Ju-88 was the answer. It was not glamorous, but it was dependable. And in a collapsing war, dependability mattered. Junkers Ju-87 Stuka. The Stuka was fear made mechanical. Its screaming dive siren was designed to break morale before bombs ever hit. In Poland and France, it worked perfectly. But the Stuka required air superiority. Without it, the slow dive bomber became a flying target. During the Battle of Britain, losses were so severe that Stukas were withdrawn entirely. On the Eastern Front, however, the Stuka found renewed purpose. Armed with heavy cannons, it became a tank killer. Pilots like Hans-Ulrich Rudel turned it into a precision weapon. The Stuka didn't disappear because it failed. It disappeared because the war outgrew it. Transport and reconnaissance. The invisible war. Junkers Ju-52. The Ju-52 was Germany's logistical backbone. It dropped paratroopers, supplied encircled armies, evacuated wounded soldiers, and kept fronts alive long after they should have collapsed. It wasn't fast. It wasn't modern. But when the Ju-52 failed, armies didn't retreat. They starved. Focke-Wulf FW-200 Condor. Originally a civilian airliner, the FW-200 became a maritime hunter. Flying far beyond Allied air cover, it spotted convoys and directed submarine attacks. For a time, it threatened Britain's survival. But it was fragile and vulnerable. Once Allied escorts improved, the Condor's reign ended. Blohm and Voss BV-138. The BV-138 flying boat patrolled cold oceans and hostile seas. It wasn't elegant, but it was reliable, and reliability kept Germany informed across vast maritime distances. Specialized ground attack. Henschel HS-129. Built specifically to kill tanks, the HS-129 was heavily armored and heavily armed. It was also cramped, underpowered, and unforgiving. In skilled hands, it was deadly. In inexperienced ones, it was a coffin. Jets and rockets. A glimpse of the future. Messerschmitt Me-262. The Me-262 changed aviation forever. It was the world's first operational jet fighter, faster than anything the Allies could field. When it attacked bomber formations, it struck and vanished before escorts could react. But fuel shortages, delayed deployment, and overwhelming Allied air superiority crippled its impact. The Me-262 proved Germany could still innovate. It also proved innovation alone could not win wars. Heinkel He-162. The He-162 was Desperation made metal. Rushed into production, built cheaply, and flown by barely trained pilots. It arrived when Germany was already collapsing. Most never saw combat. Arado AR-234. The AR-234 was the world's first jet bomber. Fast, high-flying, and nearly untouchable, it performed reconnaissance missions no piston aircraft could survive. But like every German jet, it arrived too late and in too few numbers. Messerschmitt Me-163 Comet. The Me-163 was a rocket-powered interceptor. It climbed faster than any aircraft in history and reached unimaginable speeds, but it was incredibly dangerous. Fuel explosions killed more pilots than enemy fire. It was the future, and a warning. German aircraft reshaped modern warfare. They pioneered jet combat, terror bombing, and integrated air-ground operations. But World War II proved a brutal truth. Technology does not win wars by itself. Germany built some of the most advanced aircraft ever flown, but could not fuel them, train enough pilots, or sustain years of attrition. The Luftwaffe terrified the world in 1939. By 1945, it no longer controlled its own skies. History does not remember who flew first. It remembers who is still flying at the end.